In the Blue Lock manga, there are a number of beautiful goals made by certain characters. Whether it be from a pure striker or from an assist from another player, all these goals have amazing art and most of them have amazing meaning. For this video, I'll be going over my top 10 favorite goals in the Blue Lock manga, whether it be for art and meaning, everything's being taken into consideration at this point. So if something has beautiful art but it doesn't mean anything, like a random one-off goal, then it probably won't be ranked as high as something that has beautiful meaning but just normal type art, even though normal type art in Blue Lock still is beautiful. Now before we begin, I'd like to ask you to like the video and subscribe, as it helps me, and I will make more Blue Lock videos in the future, and also have some you can check out here. Starting off with two honorable mentions, the first one we have Isagi's shot in chapter 103. Now this shot's pretty amazing since this is basically the point where we see Isagi's insane evolution. From this chapter, we see that Isagi's having trouble seeing to thinking and then to go on to move. It's basically just too hard and it's too time consuming, so he has to cut something out. That thing ended up being basically his cognitive thought process, I guess you could say, since he just started moving instinctively rather than doing it based off of things that he has to register in his mind and whatnot. Trusting the instincts of all his nerves and all of his senses leads him to evolving rapidly and using everything by reflex, basically. In this moment, he's able to surpass the geniuses Rin and Shido, with him even blowing past them and scoring an amazing goal. Now this goal not only means something to the readers who are reading it, but it also has beautiful art in it as well. So basically, the meaning of this scene is showing Isagi's, I guess you could say, latent potential and what he can actually reach if he goes to the peak of his abilities. Even at this point, when he's below people like Shido and Rin, averagely, he's able to surpass them completely when he trusts his instincts and basically goes on the offensive whenever he needs to. And this is kind of a showing of his ego being unsealed. If you guys don't know, there's actually a novel being written that's, approved by the creator of Blue Lock. And in this novel, it goes over how in high school, before he started Blue Lock or whatever, he got his ego sealed during his time in a soccer club. I'll put it up on the screen here if you want to read it. Now the next honorable mention is Shido's shot in chapter 101, a little bit before the Isagi shot. Now this shot is beautiful just because of the insane spin that Shido put on it. This drive shot is basically should be impossible for anyone to create if not Shido. And another reason this is up here is because if you didn't know, I have a bias towards Shido. I think he's an amazing character and takes amazing shots, and some of his other shots will be on this list. Next up we have Nagi's shot in chapter 32. Now this shot is fairly important to me because of Nagi's evolution in this shot. Before this moment in time, Nagi was basically just a lazy king. He had all the genius in him, but he didn't have the drive to actually bring that genius out, right? But at this point, he was given an amazing pass, and he kind of wanted to test himself. If not for that, he wouldn't have got it. But when he went on to test himself, he actually was able to, trap the ball and shoot the ball mid-air in the same motion, which is actually insane. The art in this is insane as well. We can see the awakening in his eyes, where he actually is surprised at this, and he's fairly happy. And he says soccer is interesting, and this was basically the first time he felt curiosity in his body. Now this is also a developing point for Nagi and Ryo's relationship. As we see before this, their opposing team basically had full control over the field, and we actually see Ryo's worried face, and Nagi, he doesn't like this at all, so he decides to run out and do things that he wouldn't usually do and basically push himself, which ultimately would lead to him evolving and leaving Ryo, but that's besides the point. Overall, this goal is pretty amazing, and Nagi's evolution is something we all needed, obviously. Now next up is Lavinio's shot in chapter 164 and number 9. Now this shot is amazing because it's also a developing point for Isagi, and also gives us an insight and basically a look on the professional world and people that are basically top class, right? So when Lavinio is facing off against Noah, they're having a pretty interesting battle, and from Isagi's standpoint, right, he can't even get in. It's like he can't even get in the circle of their world. It's impossible. So when he tries to create a 2-on-1 situation, and this ends up, failing basically. He blocks Noah from going for Lavinio and gives Lavinio the opening to run to the goal. Noah doesn't even try to run back to Lavinio. He just, basically scolds Isagi. After Lavinio gets through Noah and Isagi, he goes through the rest of the defenders amazingly, and we see Noah explaining to Isagi why he has the name the Dance Man. Essentially, whenever Lavinio's going through defenders, they fall as if they're, basically dancing. Basically a dance of defeat. That's where the name comes from. So when Lavinio gets through dancing through all of these defenders, he just stops at the front of the goal, because he knows no one can stop him, and he just kicks the ball back and does this amazing celebration with amazing art. Now, obviously, this is a turning point for Isagi as he realizes that he can't really get on this world yet. He can't really get on this level yet, and he doesn't make the same mistake again. So, with the amazing celebration, the amazing shot, and, the meaning behind it, he literally stops in front of the goal and then shoots. Like, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And this is why it lands at number 9 for me. Next up, we have Kunigami's lefty shot in chapter 167. Now, in this chapter, and basically this whole match, is basically a match between Isagi, Kunigami, and Kaisir. Since Kunigami and Isagi both want to basically surpass Kaisir, but they're also working against each other since they're both newbies on the team, and they have to basically work for their place on the team. So with that being said, obviously they both want to score goals and be egoists, but in this match, Isagi is actually basically forced to pass it to Kunigami since he was the one open, and he could actually surpass Kaisir in that moment and make the shot. And it also shows amazing playmaking from Isagi, which could give him, a sort of leverage on the team. So with that chemical reaction, I guess you could say, with Isagi and Kunigami traps the ball and hits it in with the lefty shot midair, which is amazing. We see, from early on in the manga that Kunigami has an amazing lefty shot. And, with his advanced physical body after the wild card training and whatnot, he just goes into flow state and completely destroys the goalie. The goalie doesn't even have a chance at blocking this shot. It just screws right in. So with the amazing art, the amazing meaning, and everything behind it, and Kunigami being a good character in my opinion, this goes in number 8. Next up at number 7, we have Baro's shot in the U20 match. Now this shot is amazing, not only because of the art, but because of the backstory as well, which is what it has in common with all of the other shots that I have on this list. So in this chapter, we have Isagi and Rin obviously fighting very hard, and then we have Rin running with Aiku, who is defending him with the ball. We also have 2 players defending against Baro as he runs towards them. But obviously they couldn't hold him because Baro's superior physical abilities, just sheer power, right? We see them just trying to hang on for dear life and tackle him, and he's just running with them straight on his back. He runs to get the ball, he gains the ball off of Rin and Aiku, and then he makes the amazing shot after declaring his revenge against Isagi. We've seen from the early chapters, since they're basically their first match, right? Him and Isagi have had an insane rivalry. They've wanted to devour each other, take each other on just to evolve themselves, right? And this is mainly because of Baro's playstyle. Baro's playstyle was kind of evolved from Isagi originally devouring him, and him never wanting that to happen again. So with him making this shot, we even see the lion, basically the king of the jungle. Since Baro is known as the king, we see the king appear behind him after making the shot, which is just beautiful. He does all this, mind you, with 2 defenders on his back. Nothing could really hold him back. He's amazing. So that's why he goes at number 7. Next up, we have Isagi's luck shot in the U20 match and the final goal in the U20 match. Now, in the final chapters of the U20 match, we have Rin and Sei Toshi having their final matchup, with Rin going into his flow state and basically being an animal. And in this moment, Rin's actually able to get the ball out of Sei's hold and get it, away from him. And in this moment, obviously it goes over to Aiku, but goes right past him and right to Isagi Oichi. And Isagi was there obviously because of his pure luck and sinks the shot in. And in this moment, we see Isagi's social status go up immensely. He has an interview after the match. Everybody's praising him. Everybody's like happy for him. This is exactly what he wanted for a very long time, to be an amazing striker and an amazing, a praised person, basically. But this isn't the end of Isagi's story, obviously, because he does have to go on to lead Japan. But this is a key point to the story, obviously. Him having his, I guess you could say, his first glimpse of success in the real world. And I mean, it also gives us insight on Rin and Isagi's relationship, I guess you could say. Since even though at this moment Rin was trying to leave everything behind, status, meaning, titles, anything, even teammates behind, and just try to destroy his brother completely, he ended up passing it to Isagi, out of pure luck. And this leads to me to believe that, there's something different from this duo than just, being very good. But that's obviously a video I'll do in the future. So with this giving evolution to the duo, and what I believe will become the best duo in the Blue Lock world eventually, this is why it lands at number 6 for me. It's just a beautiful shot. It means something for both Isagi and Rin. It is something to be praised, honestly. Now next up, we have Shido's Big Bang Drive shot in the U20 match. And obviously now we can see a consistency, with most of these shots being from the U20. And that's just because it's a beautiful arc and, one of my favorites in the Blue Lock series, obviously. Now with this shot specifically, it strikes me as amazing because it shows that with someone like Shido on the field, anything can get done, even an impossible shot like this. Like literally, Ryusei is someone who works based on all of his instincts, and his instincts basically tell him to explode and make this amazing shot from way outside of the penalty box. And, basically upside down. He does literally a bicycle kick into the goal. Who can really get off that goal in that position? It's very unexpected. No one expected it. Even Gagamara, the goalie, just went right back. He tried to go right back to the goal and go back to defending, but he wasn't expecting a shot from that far out, and he definitely wasn't expecting it to make it in. But obviously, with Shido being one of my favorite characters, he has to get a mention here because not only is this an amazing shot, it has amazing art, and it's just beautiful to look at. Like, even Seitoshi was surprised at this, so that's why he gets number 5. Now, number 4, you have Kaisir's shot from 181. And this shot is amazing because it's one of the many shots from Kaisir that further renews his rivalry with Isagi. Now, this one in particular is one that's able to show Isagi that he's above him even in his spatial awareness, which is something Isagi excelled in since childhood. It was said in the novels that I mentioned before that at age 3 or 4, I don't remember which one, that Isagi had excelled in spatial awareness, all of his human senses basically. Since that young, he could sense rain coming just by the air, the way the air was moving, and the feel of the wind or whatnot. So with someone like Kaisir being able to have spatial awareness higher than Isagi, it further renews that Isagi has to evolve in order to lead Japan. Now, this shot in specific comes whenever Kaisir is basically going through the field with the ball, and he's able to catch the ball and dribble the ball without even looking at it. With all the defenders in front of him, he basically gets ridiculed by Chigiri by saying his course of shot is dead. And Kaisir, to our surprise, just shoots it point blank, way out from the penalty box. These players couldn't even react to this shot. It got through every single one of them, and we have a whole 10 pages emphasizing how amazing this shot was. I kid you not, there are 5 2-page spreads showing this shot and how everyone couldn't react to it fast enough. No one was expecting him to make this goal. No one was even expecting him to try and make this goal, but it was possible just because of his spatial awareness and the Kaisir impact that we see later. With this beautiful relationship with Isagi and the beautiful panels, like we literally have 10 pages, this has to be put somewhere on the list, and I couldn't put it any lower than number 4 on this list. Moving on to number 3 is Noah Noah's goal later in the manga. Now, when Noah Noah and Ginga Lavinio decided to sub in and play the match, Noah Noah being such a powerhouse, no one on defense could really stop him except for possibly Lavinio. Isagi in that moment tries to devour Noah Noah and find a better position than him, but he quickly realizes that it's completely impossible for him to do after seeing Noah's mechanic dribbling, which Isagi says takes everything from him to even grasp the plays that he's doing. After this, Noah is faced with Lavinio but jumps over him and takes a shot with his left foot. This is the instance that we're shown why Noah Noah is known as the best striker in the world. Noah Noah doesn't have a perfect brain or a perfect body, but his true strength comes from the fact that he doesn't lose any power at all, no matter which leg he uses. This ambidextrous playstyle allows Noah Noah to adapt to basically any situation and dominate the field, and that's why he has to come in at number 3. Now on to number 2 is Kaisir's shot in 162 in the Germany vs Spain match. In this match, we see Kaisir's true skill and why the team plays with him as the center. Ness the Magician being at Kaisir's side all the time allows for them to make quick plays and score insane goals, especially when you take into account the Kaisir effect. Kaisir as a player is acknowledged by Isagi as not wasting any movements while on the field. The way Kaisir plays is similar to what Isagi is trying to reach, which is why you can tell that he doesn't have any real flaws. Isagi even ventures as far as saying that Kaisir is imitating his own ideal form and movements. Kaisir's field awareness also allows him to hide in the shadows, waiting for a perfect pass, which is what he does in this scene. After receiving the ball, he goes on to fake out a defender, and while the ball is still in mid-air, launch it into the goal, faster than Isagi could even see or imagine. This is when Isagi realized that Kaisir surpassed his own ideal form with the Kaisir impact. Kaisir's right kick uses all of his body to execute the fastest kick in the world. Even Noah Noah, the greatest striker in the world, says it's the only thing that Kaisir surpasses him in. This scene not only has insane art, but the goal itself provides development, which helps the story immensely. With Kaisir surpassing Isagi's ideal form, this gives Isagi something else to work for and a goal to reach besides just aimlessly playing without any idea of where to go. Without Kaisir's goal, he wouldn't have even realized that Kaisir is the heart of Germany and has a flawless ability to turn a 0 into a 1. This goal alone sends Isagi into a spiral with him thinking that he may have been wrong about everything. Kaisir being an embodiment of Blue Lock's true ideals gives Isagi a direct rival who he needs to surpass in order to lead Japan to win the World Cup. Now finally at number 1, I have Loki's goal from chapter 91. Now Loki and Blue Lock, if you didn't know already, is supposed to be a reference to their France national player Mbappe, a young prodigy at only 17 playing for the World 5. Before getting this goal, Loki shows his superiority to the Blue Lock team with just his raw speed. While defending against Loki, Usagi tries to hang back and analyze him, but once Loki takes his first step, he reaches insane speeds too fast for Usagi to even register and blows past him. In conjunction with his speed and acceleration, he has the stamina to keep it up, which allows him to blow past the rest of the defenders as well. Even someone like Rin with insane spatial awareness. After getting past Rin by accelerating even more, he kicks the ball, scoring a game-tying goal. Now, it's not only the art of this scene that makes it amazing and gets it to number 1 for me, but it's also the meaning behind it. In this scene, Blue Lock 5 are forced to awaken to the reality that the world that they are in just isn't the same as the world of their foes, who happen to be way better than them. Only someone with raw talent of the highest degree can get into that world at their age, and that person just happens to be Loki. At around the same age as the Blue Lock players, he's basically in a completely different dimension of skill compared to them, which is why his goal gets the number 1 spot. But that's all I have for today. There obviously are some more amazing goals in this manga, but these are my top 10. If you have any disagreements with my ranking, go ahead and put your ranking down below, or talk to me about your favorite goals. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to also like and subscribe, since I will be posting more Blue Lock content. Goodbye.